What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Got a blade steel battle for you today. Got curious again. So we're going to take a look at a couple knives and how they do for an edge retention test. Let's get into it. Okay, guys. If you caught any of the other videos, and actually, truth be told, because of the really hot debate that happened around this one, I might bump this one in front of the other video that I've prepared. So I'm probably going to let the one budget video go up first, just so you can kind of see. Sorry, I was in the garage, so my nose is cold. Just so you can kind of see that video first to give a little bit of context before we get into this one. But I have 4 knives that have 2 different steels on them. And what I want to see is if I run this through a gauntlet of cutting test, what will they look like before and after? Will the edges still be razor sharp? Will there be any imperfections? And if so, how bad will it be? So let's take a look at some of the contenders. The Art Company knife roll that you see here is USA made, small maker. I really like it. It's nice because for things like Blade Show, Weekend Getaway, I can just pack up a few to take with me to have for whatever it is that I'd like to do. So some of these you're going to recognize right out the gate probably before we even get into them. But let me introduce the knives and the steels that are on them. So we're going to go right to left. First, we have the Spyderco Para 3 lightweight. This one coming in S90V. So we got our first blade steel out here. S90V is our first competitor, and full disclosure on this one is a user of mine, and I think at best maybe I have stropped it. So this edge on here probably has seen the most use out of everything that's in this pack, just because of the frequency that I carry this and the fact that, you know, I don't preserve this in any way, shape, or form when I'm cutting. So I cut whatever, however, with this particular one. So just keep that in mind. And then we'll just move this down so we can stack these. The next knife here you may recognize if you've followed the channel is going to be the CJRB Echo Premium in S90V. So this one here is a Chinese-made manufacturer producing S90V, and I thought this would be a really interesting way to take a look at it in this particular cut test. This one here is a daily carry, but it's not as used, by far and away, not nearly as used as the Spyderco Para 3. The Para 3 100% is my most used knife out of this entire batch that you see in here, as far as like what it has been through as far as cutting challenges, for a nice way to put that. All right, let's go ahead and find out the other steels. Since we know we got S90V here, I am going to bring out our Quiet Carry 9 in Magnacut. So this one here is in Magnacut steel. I thought this would be a nice representation because this is our Taiwan knife, so not USA made. And this one here has a, oh, I forgot to mention that. We'll get back to that in just a second. So this one here representing the imported Magnacut. So we have imported S90V, we have US S90V, we have imported Magnacut. So let's get our domestic Magnacut guy out here, and that is going to be the Tactile Maverick. This is our USA guy here. Really excited to have this one go to work. Sorry. I thought I felt something, but I think that's just the edge. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at a couple of things. One, we're looking at S90V at 62 HRC, if my research is correct. We are looking at S90V at an unknown HRC. We're looking at Magnacut at 63 HRC, and we're looking at Magnacut at 63 to 64 HRC. What we're going to be doing, we're going to go down to the garage. We're not going to do anything fancy. We're just going to break out the cardboard. We're going to break out the notebook paper. We're going to test it before we start. We're going to do 20 each, and we're going to test it after, and then we're going to strop and test. So let me just kick it down to the garage. I'm going to do my best to edit this, guys, so that you can follow along, but it won't be terribly long. All right, let's take a look at the factory edges first. All right, looks good on the S90V Echo. Still looks good on the Paramilitary 3 Lightweight. That one might have a little bit more use on it. Still looks good on the Magnacut for the Maverick. And still looks good for the Quiet Carry 9. As I mentioned upstairs, we're just going to go straight through 20 pieces of cardboard. I'm not going to do as much diverse cutting with these. I just want to try to fatigue the edges. Once I get to 20 for each one, we'll clean everything up, and then we'll bring the paper in. We'll check it on the paper, and if anything needs to be stropped, we'll see how much it needed to be stropped. All right, that's 20 on the Para 3, so we'll set that to the side. We're going to jump to the next S90V, and that is going to be the Spyderco. Sorry, it's going to be the CJRB Echo. All right, that is 20 on the CJRB Echo. I'm losing my knives. Let me set these over here. Let's move on to the Magnacut. I might have to go through 2 pieces of board here to get to 20. Let's go ahead and start it off with the 9. All right, that is 20 on the Magnacut from Quiet Carry. Excuse me. Let me go ahead and bring in the Tactile Maverick. The Maverick, I know, is advertised as 63 to 64 HRC, and I believe the Spyderco S90V is coming in at 62 to 63. All right, we got everybody cleaned off pretty good, so I feel confident that there's no like tape or gum up residue or anything like that that should impact this test. So 20 passes each. Again, I know it's not an exact science. Let's go ahead and just check to see. Wow. There's a little tiny imperfection. You can see it catching there. Yep, just a little tiny imperfection. Let's see what the Quiet Carry 9 Magnacut is looking like versus the Tactile Maverick. Okay. So not until you get to the very end.
But I mean, honestly, 20 passes compared to what I did with the more budget-ended steals, that's pretty impressive. Some tiny little imperfections. Let's start with the S90V from CJRB. Well, there you go. 20 passes, S90V from CJRB. No imperfections at all. Let's check it out from Mr. Spider Coat.
All right, we're back from the garage. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Turn that notification bell on, and a special thanks to those channel members. Guys, I appreciate that extra support. All right, let's go back into what we saw down on the table. So first, I'd like to say all of these performed probably where they should, because that wasn't a brutal test, but it was what I would say decimated the budget steals in the video that I did and challenged the min grade steals on what I did. I also think I did more cutting in those instances that I did with this one, but I honestly, truthfully, when I started to do the cuts, thought that that would give us different results. The other thing, again, that I do want to mention here, the Spyderco is the most used in my collection and has the most cuts in front of it before that test. I do strop to maintain that edge, but as you know, eventually you are going to wear an edge out. Something may happen to it. All of these performed extremely well. Like, I'm very happy with the results. I feel like it helps justify if you go back and look at my budget blade steel battle, and then I'll post after this one. I'll try to do them really close together, but after this one, I'll do the mid grade. And I did do a little bit more cutting and fairness with those. And, you know, they performed well, but these felt the least challenged after this. I was super tempted to keep going, but I feel like we kind of got our answer. But let me know what you think down in the comment, truth be told. The other thing that I'm going to have done, because I haven't posted it yet, I'm actually going to post a poll of the steals that I'm going to do in this video today. And I'm going to bump this video to the front, or not to the front, but up in line because I'm all the way out, so that let's call it Thursday before my live stream. This will post that morning, and you all will see the results. Hopefully you participated in the poll and gave some answers. But let's get down into who I think the winners are. Truth be told, you could honestly pick which one you felt was your winner. The best performer out of all of these is going to be the CJRB Echo. It went in super slicey and it came out super slicey. I mean, honestly, I wasn't even sure that I had cut anything with this knife when it went through the paper. It absolutely blew me away. The performance was absolutely amazing. The edge was just as grabby, bitey, whatever you want to call it. It, went straight through the paper, and it didn't show any signs of wear whatsoever. So I was very happy with the performance of this, and to me, this was the clear-cut winner. So S90V coming in out of China is my first place knife. Second place for me is actually going to be the Spyderco Para 3. I know it's not an apple to oranges things, guys. I totally get it, but there was only one spot on here, and you can run through cardboard and get a really hard piece of glue that, gummed up, caked up, whatever you want to call it, and that could impact it. The other thing that I think is a factor that you should take into consideration with this S90V is the fact that this has the most cutting performed prior to the test out of all four on the table, the other three. So I think that says a lot to it. And even with the blemish on the fine edge, it still was going through the paper without any issues whatsoever. So I feel like that to me is the most impressive. I'm most satisfied with the results on this one, and I think it would have probably had the same results as the Echo if I hadn't, been carrying it as a user and breaking down a bunch of boxes and stuff with it anyway. So my top two, as far as this test performers, are going to be your S90Vs, both domestic and import. And then these two, honestly, are going to tie for third. I don't think I could pick one over the other. When I was going through, I could feel little tiny, I don't know what you want to call them, imperfections, like very, very minor. When you go through the paper fast, it would cut. When you would go slow, you could feel the paper jump a little on both of these. Now, I will say one of the ones that impacted the quiet carry seemed to had more of an effect. But I also recognize that the hardness on these steels do require it to be a little bit more challenging to strop. So while it was I did take this through 10 to strop it up, and I still felt like a little something something, but it wasn't doing anything but kind of making a tearing noise versus making the paper jump. This one here after 10 cleaned up very nicely and felt like it was able to just blast through the paper after stropping it up. And this one here was going through the paper very nicely as well. But I will say, I think the thicker geometry behind the edge versus the other three on the table hindered this a little bit. This being more of a daily carry geometry, it's just it feels slightly thicker to the hand behind it. I believe it is a little bit thicker behind the edge, but also, it is treated at a very high hardness coming in at 63. I think that it's understandable to me why that one imperfection caused it to be affected so much. But I honestly, I would say that the Echo probably would be the most compelling argument on the table for S90V. I wanted to look at US and domestic. I wanted to look at domestic and import, and kind of have some variety on the table for the steels. And the Echo really, I think, shows what S90V is all about. I didn't have any other S90V outside of that. So unfortunately for the domestic, it was a user before going into that. So I think that maybe had a little bit of effect for that blemish that you saw when I did the immediate after cardboard cutting on the paper to show what the edge was looking like how was it performing. But all of these could have kept going. I feel like all of these could have kept going a lot longer, and I feel like just dropping them up is going to keep them going for a very long time. Like, I feel like these are edges, if you're into edge retention and you don't want something that you're constantly going to have to be after, especially if you use it a bunch, I feel like this is going to be the one that is really going to shine for you. It's going to be S90V, and I really like Magnacut. And I may do other, verses for different type of steels in the future. We could throw some 20CV at one of these two or both of these. We could throw some M390, which is going to be the same as 20CV, but you would have to have some domestic and import. And we could do some different types of steels. But I really, because it was such a hot debate, and it was friendly. I'm pretty sure it was friendly. I don't think either person that was having that discussion felt angry about the discussion. I think one was looking at, total package, toughness, corrosion resistant, edge retention, and the other was simply saying for the small sacrifice in toughness, the gains that you get for edge retention for S90V, plus the cost and the ability for a lot of manufacturers to treat this correctly or at an acceptable performing hardness, is what they were getting at. So I get both sides of the argument depending on what it is that you need your knife for. This one here feels like the all-arounder. It has the Magnacut all-around steel that's going to cover everything. It has the all-around geometry to it, all-around blade shape to it, all-around carry size to it. This one here is a little bit more slender. This definitely feels like an everyday carry knife, but it feels a little bit more upscale. Like, I would probably say this one, especially in its titanium format, would be the one that I would take out the most. This one here feels like the total user. I can't say there's too many Spydercos out there that feel like they could flex into gent, but this would be the everyday carry user. And then this one here kind of mimics to me the Maverick in that it kind of flexes into that ability to be like, we're going out on a date tonight, dress up, but I still want one. That would be one that I could probably throw in the pocket and feel okay about it. Anyway, throw your thoughts down below, and who did you pick in the poll? Did you take the poll, or were you surprised by the results at all? I'd love to hear it down in the comments below. Guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me today and checking this one out. I thought it was fun. I was curious. I had the steals. I figured, why not? All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. I hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.